it is actually very, very difficult to achieve any kind of success or long-term power or mastery in this world. So please pay attention. Now, when we look at our lives and our career path, it generally goes like this. We're born, I think we can all agree on that. We then enter an education system, and then somewhere around high school, maybe a little earlier, maybe a little later, in the back of our minds, we become aware of the fact that we actually have to earn a living. And this is a very tough realization for some. Now, some people who find this realization a little too harsh, and it fills them with anxiety, they choose what I would call a direct path. They gravitate towards something like law or medicine, or go for an MBA, or some kind of obvious direct craft or skill where they feel they can make a lot of money quickly, something lucrative. There might be some interest, I don't mean to deny that they might not genuinely be interested in medicine or law or business, but if these fields weren't so lucrative, they probably wouldn't choose it. One of the more overriding concerns in choosing a path like that is the money, and nobody would deny that. But many more of us in life choose what I call an indirect path. So we enter the university system, we figure out a major that we think corresponds more or less to something that we like, and then suddenly we're thrown out into the real world to fend for ourselves. And we have to choose a particular career path that might suit us. But we can't choose anything that we like, and so a lot of our choice depends on what's out there, where we live, who are the connections that we have, where we can get some money together, or where we can find a position. And so we take that first step, that first important career step. And then what generally happens after 3 or 4 years, perhaps the job is no longer there, or we're tired and bored, and we have to make an adjustment in our career path, and we choose something else. Maybe something a little bit related, maybe something not really related. And then every 3 or 4 years, another adjustment, on and on and on. And if you were to lift yourself up and look at this career path over 10, 20, 30 years, you would see sort of this zigzagging motion where it goes, where the person ended up like 30 years later has very little relationship to where they started. Even people who take the direct path in life, the same scenario. I knew, for instance, this lawyer that I met in Los Angeles. He went into law because he actually thought it was an interesting field, and he intended to become perhaps a criminal prosecutor, a DA, and then get into a career in politics. And for reasons he couldn't really help, mostly because of his wife, etc., he found himself moving to Los Angeles, where he had to get a job as an entertainment lawyer, and he ended up in entertainment law, and here he was, like babying actors with their egos and movie directors, something he had never intended, and he was pretty unhappy. And he was consulting me to help rescue him from that. And I find that scenario over and over and over again in my consulting business. People who are in their 40s, and they say, I have no idea how I ended up where I am. I'm not unhappy, I'm not completely unsuccessful, but I never really intended to get in this career that I find myself in. It happened by some weird random chain of events. Now, if you examine this way of how we look at our lives, we can make a few generalizations. A lot of the choices that happen in this career path are from external reasons. Where is the money? Who do we know? Where do we live? What are other people doing? A lot of these choices and this career path that we take is somewhat passive. It seems to depend on a lot of chance and good luck and opportunities that suddenly appear. And finally, we can say that we never really look at our overall life, at the overall pattern of our life. Instead, we're thinking in terms of blocks of 3 years or 4 years, or not even that, maybe months of, I gotta get through past this obstacle, I gotta get this job, and I'll think about the future later. There's no overall arching sense of a purpose, of a goal to our lives. And I find this problematic. The human being, and I'd explain this in my book, we're very unique, very strange creatures. Animals are basically programmed. They're programmed to respond in a certain way to events in their environment. We humans have free will, a wonderful thing. We have consciousness. But with that free will and that consciousness comes a certain element of pain. That freedom can be very painful. Sometimes we don't know how to fill up our days. We don't know how to make a choice. What is it is this the right choice to take in this particular career path? Could there be something better? There seems to be nothing really truly guiding us and telling us how we must work our lives. This lack of a purpose that many of us have, this lack of a sense of a goal, is even worse in the modern world, where things are changing so quickly. And I think it's actually the source of a lot of secret frustration and a depression that a lot of people have. In the past, that sense of a purpose and a goal was filled through religion in a very deep and powerful way, and we're missing that in the world. So I maintain in Mastery that there is another way of looking at your life, a much different approach, one that I obviously promulgate. And it goes like this. Each human being, each one of you, was born completely unique. Your DNA never occurred in the past and will never again occur in the future. An incredible thought if you ever spend time to think about, to ponder that. The same thing could be said about your brain. Your brain is configured in a particular way that has never happened in the past, will never happen in the future. This uniqueness that you're born with is there's a purpose, there's a reason behind it. Our culture, who we are, depends on the diversity of people that exist within it, each person bringing their own personal skills, their own uniqueness to bear it within our culture, expressing all of these different skills and ideas, creating this kind of rich soil. It's why we celebrate a period in history like the Renaissance. So this uniqueness that you were born with is your purpose, is your fate, is your destiny. Now, how does this uniqueness that each one of you have, how does it manifest itself? It manifests itself beginning at the age of 3 or 4 years old. You probably can't remember it, but as a child, you were naturally drawn to certain things, to certain activities. You're very young, it's a pre-verbal thing. You're drawn to certain patterns, to certain ways of thinking, to rhythms, to music, perhaps to a physical activity.